The Ithaca Airport Expansion has been a project worked on for the last couple of years, involving many meetings, multi-million-dollar grants, and a vision to improve the airport experience. If you have recently visited the airport, you would have noticed the ticketing area taped off as it's undergoing renovation. This is Phase 1 of 3 for the expansion project. Phase 2 is in close proximity thanks to grants from Governor Cuomo's Upstate Revitalization Initiative and an additional $10 million from the FAA, advocated by Senator Chuck Schumer. I interviewed Ithaca Airport Director Mike Hall for his take on the project and what exactly Phase 2 entails.
Well, it's very exciting. We're actually ahead of schedule and under budget on Phase 1. There are 3 phases to the project overall. Phase 2 enhances the security screening experience. We'll have a wide enough entrance to departure that we can have 2 lanes, one for pre-checked people and one for those who do not hold that status. And then we'll be building a departure arrival concourse, which will be similar to what you see at larger airports. We'll have 1 concourse with 4 gates, actually 6 gates, because 2 of them will be ground level gates. We'll have 4 boarding bridges off that concourse. There'll be food and drink service on the secure side, and basically the experience in the airport will be what you would expect in any modern, well-equipped airport.
Last week, the Tompkins County Legislature awarded Street Associates of Elmira, New York, the construction contract for the second phase of the Ithaca Airport expansion. Phase 3 will offer more decoration to the airport and the construction of an international customs facility. The main question now is whether the Ithaca Airport will offer international flight service. There is a possible stake for investing in commercial international travel, with top global leaders from Ithaca College and Cornell University nearby, but Hall says a few factors need to be taken into consideration.
International flights coming in depend on 2 things if you're talking about commercial air service. The first, of course, is a market. Anybody who would provide that service would want to know that their airplanes were going to be operating at a 80% load factor or higher. And the smallest aircraft that's really in service right now is a 50-seat regional jet. So, that means that you got to have at least 40 people in every airplane, or it's not going to be economically viable. From our point of view, commercial passenger service would probably only be possible from 1 or 2 locations. Certainly, Toronto is at the top of the list. We're a very Toronto-centric community. A lot of activity along that route of flight. It's also a very short flight, however. The second place would be Montreal. Not as much activity between Ithaca and Montreal. It's a little hard to get there on the ground, and so it's not quite as much of our consciousness as Toronto is. In both cases, U.S. Customs is available to pre-clear flights at departure, which means that when you arrive in the United States, you don't have to go through the international arrival experience that, your listeners may be most familiar with at places like Kennedy, because that will have taken place at departure. And they do that to, relieve some of the strain on the major international airports. In order to receive a pre-cleared flight, however, there does have to be a customs agent at the arriving field to check the manifest to make sure everything was done properly. So by adding customs here, we add the possibility, I think, the realistic possibility of Toronto service at some point in the future.
Here is the important difference to mark. Commercial international flights may not be going out anytime soon, but there's a future possibility of allowing them to come into Ithaca. The construction of the International Customs Facility is targeted for charter use.
What might that look like? Well, the Borg-Warner plant in Ithaca, for example, consumes parts from an international production market, particularly Mexico. And sometimes in their supply chain, parts get to become critical, and they might in the future take advantage of that to fly a freight flight directly in to the airport here rather than having to fly it in someplace else, clear it, and then refly it a second time. Large businesses in Tompkins County, where we have a very global economy, do attract quite a bit of interest from investors and visitors who, again, coming from overseas, would find it perhaps advantageous to fly directly in here instead of working their way circuitously through the commercial airline service.
Some local activists shared their opinion about the Ithaca Airport expansion and were most concerned about the customs facility. This concern arose after a Tompkins County sheriff detained an undocumented man and reported him to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement last month. Tompkins County legislator Anna Kellis from the 2nd District made it clear that this facility is not for the intensive immigration patrol on undocumented people.
That is exclusive to the airport. The facility will be on the secure side of the airport grounds, and the way that it has been set up is that the county will be paying for the position to staff that facility. To have an international airport, you have to have, it has to be Security and Border Patrol, staffing to check manifests when they come in, just like any other, international airport. But there is an MOU that will be signed between the airport and the federal government that the county will be paying for it. So, and the fact that it is on the secure side of the airport, it will be exclusive to the airport. So it's been designed that way, as will the MOU be designed that way. And of course, there's the advantage of setting it up that way, that either party can withdraw from that MOU at any time.
The MOU, or Memorandum of Understanding, offers some assurance to activists about this expansion, but who knows what future arguments may be ahead. The other comment legislator Kellis made was that regarding last month's incident and the Sanctuary County legislation, it's a matter of not needing to act upon so long as law enforcement does not have the information.
Federal government has jurisdiction anywhere in the country. And I think that it is really important to understand that we all always understand that. We can't prevent the federal government from doing their job. What we also cannot do, according to federal law, is we cannot prohibit anyone from providing information to the federal government. We can't prevent that. So the way that the Public Safety for All resolution was written is to say that we won't ask for that information. And if we don't have that information, then we won't have that information to share with the federal government.
The Ithaca Airport expansion is a reality and is closer to being completed. Legislator Kellis understands the voices calling for commercial international flights, but she hopes to get through this expansion before hosting new conversations. Airport Director Hall says this large project has brought new perspectives together to ask how to make Ithaca more inclusive.
The second thing I would say, though, just in concluding, is the mantra at the airport, I think, is fundamental to our success and to our future. And that mantra is, we speak your language, we cook your food, we celebrate your music, and you're welcome here. Now, that's a journey, not a destination. And we have to constantly be vigilant to make sure that we are inclusive of the many diverse people we have in the community, no matter what their political views or their origin or any of the other things that you could use to categorize difference within the society. So to the degree that we're inclusive, and that goes back to the issue of including people who are residents but who need help to become fully documented United States citizens, that's a very important part of our future.
For WVBR News, I'm Christopher.